No, we had a quality control setup. And what we did was, procedure at the time was that we would assign, at the time was my job, would assign producers to artists. But what happened was some producers or writers would come up with an idea that seemed to fit certain artists, more so than the assigned producer. So the job was to make sure that he would cut that tune his way, the assigned producer would cut his tune his way, and then we'd get in a meeting and we would listen and see which was the best tune, and we'd all make that same decision. I mean, we'd all listen, and if the song was the best song for that artist, no matter who produced or wrote that song would go out. And the hardest part was to see to it, if a producer was assigned a job, then basically he would probably get the B side of that record. But the winning song was the song, no matter who wrote the song, no matter who produced the song. And that kept the competition rolling at all times. And when you hit a roll, as we say, like Holland-Dozier did with the Supremes, or Harvey did with Marvin Gaye, or he did with the Temptations or the Velvelettes. And when you hit a roll, you wanted to keep with that producer. He had first priority on that situation. And it worked out great, you know. Sometimes you get an album, you may have 4 producers on one album, but they took their best shots, and it worked out great. That kept the competition rolling great inside.
Tell me how Holland-Dozier-Holland got together.
Holland-Dozier-Holland, which of course is one of the greatest writing teams at Motown, in the world, frankly. Eddie Holland was a singer. And as a matter of fact, Eddie and I did, let me see, the song was called Jamie, and was written by, who wrote Jamie? It was Barrett Strong and myself. We did Jamie. I had so many writing partners I got to think of them, right? And we did it with Eddie Holland, who, in my opinion, had a great voice. And he was like a Jackie Wilson, shall we say. The only problem with Eddie was when he got in front of the microphone and an audience, he would freeze. It was the funniest thing you ever seen. I mean, this guy has a hit record, and we're at the Apollo, and Eddie freezes. Now, the song gets out, of course. He finally finishes it, but I knew then his career as an artist was out the window. So Eddie teamed up with his brother, because I told him, I said, Eddie, why don't you just write? Forget singing. So he agreed with me. Obviously, he'd never sung another record. Anyway, he and his brother got together. Now, there was a guy, Lamont Dozier at the time was doing some writing and singing himself. And between the three of them, individually, they had a thing going musically. But together, they had a stroke of magic. And I kind of forced them together. And it was they were all like, shall we say, independent ego writers, right? So you couldn't push them together. You kind of let them fall together on a piece of material, and one would help the other one would help. And pretty soon they found that they had a good marriage among themselves. And they started writing like that. It turned out to be great. What happened to Motown? Good question. For me, I think Motown had ran its course. I feel that the reason for Motown coming together served its purpose. Berry Gordy made more millionaires in the music business and created more avenues for producers and writers like myself and artists to go on about their lives and become great, and some greater than they were with Motown, and to bring others up with an idea that this thing can happen, which opened the doors for people like Gamble and Huff and Babyface, and other than that, I mean, this was a purpose that served its purpose, and that was it. That's my opinion.
And what's the Motown legacy?
It left a world of music for people to know.